What's up, everybody? Welcome to SLC Puck. I switched to a plastic table for the show, and it's a little bouncier. So when I hit the table, everything just goes flying in the air for a little bit. It's kind of fun, not gonna lie. Hey, welcome to SLC Puck. I'm your host, Austin Facer. You are tuning in on May 11th. Sunday. It's Mother's Day. I don't know about you guys, but I think every day should be Mother's Day. And if you've been noticing what's been going on at SLC Puck, you probably noticed we dropped a bonus episode today, which featured the moms behind the scenes at SLC Puck. I don't know if you guys knew this, but there are two moms working tirelessly behind the scenes here at SLC Puck Studios, making sure the ship is running smoothly. I'm talking about my mother and my sister, who is also a mother. You've probably seen my nephew, Kevin, a few times. But yeah, they did their own solo show. They took over the set. And meanwhile, I was wrangling Kevin, and Kevin was knocking over the camera and causing all kinds of mischief. By the way, let me just say, the new studio is still a little bit of a work in progress, but we've made a lot of ground on the wall behind me, the wall over there. It's going to be 4 walls of fun here at SLC Puck Studios. Lots of technological advancements still to come. I'm excited to show you guys all of them. But yeah, as I was saying, the Mother's Day special was a lot of fun. Sammy and my mom did a great podcast episode. Hopefully we'll have more of that. I think they thought that I was being overly critical of them, but I think they have potential. I think they can take this a long way, and so I just am trying to extract the maximum amount of value out of them. And I'm also trying to extract the maximum amount of value out of the new branding from the Utah Mammoth. I keep wanting to say Utah Hockey Club because we've been saying that for over a year, almost a year now. But that's in the past. We got to put that behind us. Now, the Mammoth are here, and we're building a herd right now, a herd with big Tusk energy. So it's the lifestyle brand that powers SLC Puck. So if you go to Big Tusk Energy, you can be a founding member of the herd. Special pricing right now on some great merch. We got these hats, these t-shirts, a bucket hat, a trucker hat that's a little more inexpensive, I guess you could say, than the golf hat. But I really like the golf hat myself. Sticker, another t-shirt option, a crop top for the ladies in your life, right? That's a lot of fun. And then some other great SLC Puck stuff that you know and love. That's all slcpuck.shop or bigtuskenergy.com. Those will take you to the same places. But again, super, super awesome to have this brand here. You can see I'm wearing yet again another Utah Mammoth hat. I got the U Tusk logo on, which I think is probably one of my favorites. I mean, all the logos are really, it just feels so good to have such a cool brand, and give so much credit to Smith Entertainment Group. I heard that the logo was designed in-house, which I thought was really interesting because, a lot of the reporting and stuff we had heard was that Doubleday and Cartwright was taking a big lead on that. What I had heard from somebody was that they were really kind of building out that video, the storytelling behind Utah Mammoth, but the logo itself was designed in-house by Utah talent. So I think that's awesome. And I got to I'm so biased, but the logo is really good. It really is. It's super solid. It tells a great story. And just thinking back on what I was hoping would happen with the team name, they really checked all the boxes that I was hoping for. I know if you go way back into the SLC Puck archives, right when the name vote started, I laid out my criteria, and I gave the Milwaukee Bucks as an example of who I thought had the best branding in sports. And I was like, I like the Bucks because they chose an animal. It's like weirdly kind of tough, but kind of quirky, campy as well. The branding around the name is really good. Like you feel like the colors and everything, and even the font embody Milwaukee and Wisconsin and that area. I was like, I really hope we get something similar for Utah Hockey Club, whatever that ends up being. And I think they really did nail it with Utah Mammoth. I keep seeing billboards all over I-15 for Utah Mammoth, across the overpasses. I got to get one of those things that go across the overpass too. Again, we're kind of running out of space here in SLC Puck Studios. We have so much crap on all the walls now, but we'll find a place for that. If some enterprising listener can get their hands on one of those and do so by legal means, we would definitely welcome that into SLC Puck Studios for certain. But again, it's just like we've almost had the brand for a whole week now, and it still feels like a new pair of you know what I really like? You go to Costco. If you're anything like me and Dylan Gunther and Jack McBain, you love Costco. And I really like the Kirkland brand socks. And the Kirkland brand socks like just hold their weight so well for like years and years. They're thick, they're soft, they're cushy. And I think that's kind of just how I feel looking at the Utah Mammoth brand. I get the same feeling I get when I slip into a pair of Kirkland brand socks. Yeah, that is deranged, but that's just the way I feel. But anyway, I mean, another great week here for all of us here at SLC Puck Studios, enjoying the new studio, enjoying the new brand. I've also been out and about playing a fair amount of hockey. My men's league team starts this week, and again, I don't expect any of you guys to care about this, but I'm going to talk about it on the show anyway. I'm not going to tell you guys the name of the team because it's a little less than family appropriate. I'm looking at my sister right now; she doesn't even know what the name is. I'll have to tell her when I hop off the air. But yeah, so that'll be fun playing on Tuesdays, at the Oval. But yeah, I've been also working with, the Utah Mammoth Learn to Play program, and we had a Learn to Play clinic, paid clinic over at, the Cottonwood Heights Ice Arena. And we had some special guests this time, which was a lot of fun. We had, our good friend Dom Moore, who's on the broadcast team. He's the color commentator with Matt McConnell. You know him from Fundamentals when he's in studio. He was there with his daughter. She's learning how to play, and Nick Bukestad was there as well with his daughter. She had really cute pink warrior gloves, like bright pink gloves that were pretty cute. But it was really cool to see Nick there because Nick is not under contract next year. But he mentioned that he's just going to be around for a little bit longer. So, I figure like, why not get on the ice while you're here? I really hope Nick comes back next year. For one, I think it's nice to have like a veteran presence, a guy who's that big and has the potential to play the kind of heavy style that the Utah Mammoth is going to need next year. But also just like a terrific, nice guy. Really, really, again, he was helpful. I was kind of doing the red light, green light area of the clinic, working on our hockey stops, and Nick was super helpful with my section of the clinic there. So big thanks to Nick and Dom. Dom was incredibly helpful. A Harvard guy. He's good at communicating. He's a cerebral man. Excellent communicator, excellent helper, excellent dude. So really, really fun. I encourage you guys to sign up for the Utah Mammoth Learn to Play program. So a lot of fun and stuff happening. And also, if you're a fan of like seeing the real guys play, the real big dogs play, there has been a fair amount of Utah Mammoth action representation at the IIHF World Championships in Denmark and Sweden. The Utah Mammoth, by the way, look at their website. Their website looks super slick right now. They have the mountain texture in the background. All the fonts have been added. A new Ice Age dawns. Tusks Up, right? Great stuff. But Catherine Brogart, who's the team reporter, is doing a really great job of recapping the men's world championships day by day, player by player, each of the Utah Mammoth representatives, player by player. Clayton Keller, obviously captain of Team USA, playing along with Logan Cooley and Josh Stone on Team USA. Keller and Cooley combined for a nice little goal today against Hungary. A slick little saucer pass from Clayton Keller to Logan Cooley for the goal here. We'll just play that. I don't know if you guys can see that. So Keller's going to come around right there, like bottom of the circle right there, fling a saucer out to Cooley for the one-timer. Nice little goal. Something we can hopefully expect to see a lot of next season. So that's a lot of fun there to watch that again. Like Barrett Hayton also scored a goal for Canada today. Maximilian Zubar has been playing decently well for Germany. Karel Vemelka picked up his game for Chechnya, Czech Republic, same thing. I can't keep track of global politics these days. It's all changing. Aren't we getting like a 51st state or something? I keep seeing that. I'm joking, of course. But, this, again, keep track of all your Utah Mammoth updates here on utahmammoth.com. They're doing a really great job like that. But if you really want like the insider information, this is kind of my lead story today. I am firmly under the belief that the best place to acquire information about what the Utah Mammoth is considering doing for its fans, or what Ryan Smith has rolled up his sleeve, is none other than a little television program I like to call the Pat McAfee Show. And on Thursday, the day after the branding, the Utah Mammoth brand was finally unfurled, Ryan hit the air. He made his visit to the Pat McAfee Show. And I get the feeling Ryan really likes the Pat McAfee Show. The story goes he invited Mr. McAfee to come to a Jazz game a couple years ago, treated him like a king, all that good stuff. Made a really great ally in the national media that way. And I think Ryan really sees this as a great way to pitch Utah, to pitch the Utah Mammoth to the national crowd, like the younger hip crowd, the same people who love SLC Puck, right? The same cool guy listeners, right, everybody? Right, everybody? But he got on Thursday, and it's a really interesting segment. And I can't play any video of this segment on this show because otherwise I'll get pinged and demonetized. And I kind of am depending on that nowadays to make this thing happen. By the way, like, comment, subscribe. That's a big help. But you watch the interview with Ryan and Pat McAfee and McAfee's team over there in Indiana in the Thunderdome. And it's really interesting because not only is Ryan sort of unfurling the brand and talking about it and hyping it up and giving it like the credit it deserves and the credit to his team. He got Pat McAfee in a sweatshirt and a hoodie, branded Utah Mammoth, all that good stuff. But the interview really kind of turned into like a creative planning session. And I think there's some interesting things to take away from it. I'll say this. I really like what Pat McAfee does. Like, my dream is to turn SLC Puck into some sort of very hyper-local, much smaller budget version of the Pat McAfee Show. So that's kind of like what we've been working on here in my mom's basement is sort of building out a set that can work that way. So stay tuned for that. I think this season is going to be a lot of fun for SLC Puck. But you also, like, it's a fun show because Pat's team, it's a bunch of just sports loving bros, like just cool dudes. They give each other crap. Obviously, it sounds like a lot of them have been to pretty much every NFL stadium. I mean, Pat McAfee certainly has been to every NFL stadium. They've probably been to their fair share of NBA arenas, NHL arenas, Major League Baseball stadiums. So they've seen plenty of stuff that sports teams do to engage their fans, engage their audience, and they have a lot of great ideas that way. And so I want to just go through like a few of the ideas that I heard on the Pat McAfee Show that I really liked. And it's funny to kind of watch this interview because you can kind of hear and you can see Ryan listening to those ideas, and it kind of gets the wheels churning in his head. He's like, yeah. How can we do that? And it's funny. Like, I'll show you one example. It seemed like he got off the call with Pat McAfee and then immediately went to work on seeing on how some of these ideas can be brought to fruition. But obviously, like, kind of the centerpiece of and I love talking about this, by the way. I love the fan experience. I love all the stuff. I'll get to what it is in just a second here. But I love the fan experience. Like if you probably remember early in the show, I talked a lot about how I thought the Vegas Golden Knights had an unbelievable fan experience. If you ever get a chance to go to a Golden Knights game, please do. It's like medieval times meets a hockey game. It's a ton of fun. I think the Utah Mammoth want to do something similar. So anyway, that's why I love fan experience stuff so much. So again, here we go. The ideas from the Pat McAfee Show. It all centers kind of around the Tusks Up idea. So obviously this is something we've talked about on the show. We talked about like what the fan gesture should be. This has been my idea for quite a while. And if you're listening to this on Apple or Spotify, it's not going to make any sense. But I'm doing like kind of tusks with like the palm of my hand and my chin with my pinky and my pointer finger pointed up like tusks. Also, the Pat McAfee Show boys had a much better gesture for this. It's this right here. It's hang loose with the thumbs in the corner of your mouth, pinkies up. I think, to me, this is it. And you could see Ryan, like, as soon as like Pat McAfee and his dudes did that, Ryan went, whoa, I hadn't seen that before. It looks cool. It looks like Tusks. And the wheels kind of got churning in Ryan's head. And he's like, I think there's a lot of fun stuff we could do. Like, we could make like a Tusk, like like, let's say you want to have like your Diet Coke beer. You want to have like your Diet Coke and like a Tusk. You could drink it like this, right? And this is a crude prototype that I've made of what I think could be a fun Tusks Up cup, right? So just picture this. And I drink all my my Dr. Pepper 0 sugar. But I mean, we all saw Utah Hockey Club games this last season. The Bud Light Celly cam goes on. People go nuts on the jumbotron, chugging their beer. Just picture the beer served in a Tusks Up cup like this. And as the good folks watching the Mammoth, the Mammally, as we like to say it, the Mam Fam, does their thing. They throw the beer up in the air, right? And the Tusks. What's up, guys? If you're anything like me, you probably screwed up Mother's Day by not getting your mother that special something she deserves. Well, I've got great news. There is a path to redemption, and it's by visiting our good friends Payne Anthony Creative Jewelers at Charlie Square and Jonathan's Jewelry in Cottonwood Heights. They've got some of the most incredible jewelry. They've had this like vintage jewelry buying event going on where they've got some like incredibly unique pieces that you can't find anywhere else. Go over there, check it out. You'll get something that'll get you back in your mom's good graces. And if you're like, oh, but money's a concern, guess what? Good news. By listening to SLC Puck, you can get $100 off of your purchase at either one of those locations. Again, Jonathan's Jewelry in Cottonwood Heights, Payne Anthony Creative Jewelers at Charlie Square. And just to sweeten the deal even more, we've got this great raffle we've been doing for quite a while now. You scan this QR code in the corner, you'll be prompted to send a message, hit send on that sucker, and you'll be entered into our raffle for a $250 gift card. We've been giving these out like hotcakes lately. So many winners, so many people getting in on the fun and getting a great deal on some incredibly good jewelry that your mother will love and forgive you for being such a goofball and not getting it when you should have. And it's partially on me. I should have reminded you as well. So anyway, get there, get to those jewelry stores, get the good stuff, and tell them SLC Puck sent you. And let's get back to the show. Go up. Do you see that? All right. So I wouldn't be surprised to see some version of that put into actuality for Utah Mammoth games. The other big idea, and this was something that Ryan got right to work on because he thought it was such a great idea, Mammoth statues in front of the Delta Center. We all know there's going to be major renovations on the inside, outside of Delta Center. Third West, pretty much all the way to Abravanel Hall is going to be completely redone. But the fan engagement part, they talk so much about how they want the Delta Center to feel like a front door, to be like an experience in itself on the outside. They want to make it a place where people can gather. Ryan and Pat McAfee and his crew talk so much about how cool it would be to have some giant life-size mammoth statues on the outside, and maybe even a mammally, right? A mammoth family, right? Of mammoths of varying sizes on the outside, including maybe like a baby mammoth, which would be ideal for selfies and whatnot. And then as you can see here, Ryan really liked that idea, and maybe that was something he was already considering. I think they're thinking a lot about what the inside of the arena is going to be as well. But you can see here, Ryan quote tweets the tweet sent by Pat McAfee where they talk about the big mammoths, right? You're going to need some mammoth outside of the stadium, Ryan Qualtrics. Make sure they're real big, said Boston Connor, who's a member of Pat McAfee's crew. And then you can see right here, right after that, it looks like it was the next day, actually, 7:51 a.m. Productive ideation session, right? They saw that it was an interview and a creative planning session all in one. He got off the horn with bigstatues.com, which I would presume is a statue manufacturer, to kick the tires. So it sounds like that was something that Ryan really liked. So other great ideas we heard on the Pat McAfee Show interview with Ryan Smith. maybe getting some real bones in there, real mammoth bones. And there have been mammoth bones found throughout the state. Probably the best example, the ones at the Fairview Museum, where there's a life-size mammoth replica, I believe. I'm not sure if it's like a full fossil or just a replica, but I think they also really have this very ambitious idea. It was someone in the news last month or so, maybe 2 months ago, how they're actually finding ways to clone the woolly mammoth using the DNA they found in the fossil. I think Ryan's huge big idea would be to get one of these cloned mammoths into the arena somehow. And I think they said it kind of jokingly, but I think you could also kind of suspect that they're also like kind of considering how they can actually do it. But they joked about having like one of the mammoths actually rinkside in like a pin next to the ice. Kind of like, we see like some college football teams like Bevo, right, at the University of Texas, probably the best example, or there are a few others of live animals being on the field. Wouldn't that be something? If you're a member of the San Jose Sharks and you roll into town and there's a frickin' real life woolly mammoth on the corner of the outside of the rink, that would kind of do something to your head a little bit, I think, right? That would be kind of an unreal home ice advantage that the Utah Mammoth could have by having a prehistoric creature on the ice. Imagine this, right? So we know they're going to have the outdoor game at Rice-Eccles Stadium in a few years. Imagine they actually had a herd of real, cloned prehistoric creatures, mammoths, running around the outside of the rink at the setup at Rice-Eccles Stadium. That would be something for sure. But again, other little takeaways, Ryan talked about how it was so interesting how in this process with the name boat, like AI drawings became such a big part of it. And if you were anywhere near one of these Facebook groups for the Utah Hockey Club or anything, you saw, and I did plenty of these myself, countless examples of ChatGPT generated logos, ideas, like all this stuff, right? There's so many like manifestations of what, the Utah Outlaws could look like, the Utah Yeti could look like, the Mammoth, the Blizzard even. Thank goodness they didn't go with Blizzard. We'll have to revisit some of those original 20 names because some of them were pretty horrific. And I think a lot of those were put in there, knowing that they didn't have much of a chance. But just to put a tone, just to put a feather in that cap. I think you really want to go watch that Pat McAfee interview with Ryan Smith because again, I think it's really fascinating to hear not only the process of how they landed on Utah Mammoth, but also like what they want to do with the name, the creative elements they could do for the fan experience. And I think you can also just watch Ryan as they're talking. And as I said, you can just see the thought process happening in his mind in real time. So it's really interesting. I'm really excited to see the Tusks Up Cup. So when you guys, when that becomes a thing next season, just know that here, Austin, your buddy at SLC Puck, he was the first one to do a prototype on the air. So there you go. We're happy to do that. Hey, don't forget to go to bigtuskenergy.com too. That's more fun stuff you can do with the Mammoth brand, by the way. I think I have a few other ideas too for Big Tusk Energy. How about Big Tusk Energy drinks? Those are pretty good. Maybe we could partner with Celsius or Bucked Up. We could do Big Tusk Brew. We could partner with a local brewery to do a batch of Big Tusk Brew. Obviously the merch is a lot of fun. The social media channels are a lot of fun. So yeah, I launched a second social media brand, I guess you could say, Big Tusk Energy. So make sure you're following that as well. But again, the Mammoth brand unlocks so many possibilities for fans, for the team, for folks who are all around the game and around the arena. It's really a terrific amount of stuff. It could be fun though. You know what else is big in Utah? I don't know if any of you guys know this, but people like ice cream around here. What if they did ice cream cones in the shape of a tusk? I'm actually looking at something on Twitter. Someone commented that on my post of the Tusks Up Cup. So make sure you guys are following me at SLC Puck, and I will steal your ideas and use them on the air. So Appreciate that. That one came from Brett at Bo Austin 24, 23 minutes ago. So it's fun. It's a really exciting time. That's kind of the off-ice stuff that's circulating around the Utah Mammoth. But I think what's kind of got lost in the sauce a little bit this week, and I touched on it so briefly in the last episode, it is such a insanely huge deal that the Utah Hockey Club essentially won the draft lottery like a couple weeks ago. Not last Monday it was. Yeah. And then what a big week. Like we said on Wednesday, they essentially won. They moved up the maximum amount of spots they could from 14 to 4. That puts them in a much better position for a lot of different things, right? For drafting a guy who could be an impact player in the NHL much quicker than someone drafted at 14 was. There's usually a huge drop off right around pick 5, 6, right? When they picked Tej again the last year at 6. I'm optimistic that he'll crack the lineup at some point next season, maybe if only for 10 games on the entry-level contract slide rule. But the 4th pick gives so many options to the Utah Hockey Club. And I've said for a while that I think that this club has had 2030 circled as their big year when they're really going to be able to make a Stanley Cup run, when all their guys are really entering their primes. Logan Cooley, Dylan Guenther, Mikhail Sergachev, and Clayton Keller are going to be very kind of more grizzled veterans, I should say, but still have a lot left in the tank at that point. But I think it's very possible that having this 4th pick and having the optionality that comes with it might accelerate the Utah Hockey Club's timeline like by 2 years. I don't think it's crazy at all. This is just this team could be Stanley Cup ready by 2027, maybe 2028. And I wonder, like, I've seen this idea floated out, and I've kind of thought about this myself. I really think, and Bill Armstrong, by the way, is considering this as well. As soon as they got that pick, Billy Armstrong said, listen, there's going to be a lot of teams that want this pick, so we're going to plant some seeds for maybe some trade ideas. The trade idea that I like the most, that I think kind of makes a lot of sense for what the Utah Hockey Club has needed, what we saw them sort of lack this last season, would be a guy like Tage Thompson from the Buffalo Sabres. And when you look at his contract, I think it kind of tells a nice story here. So this last season, Mr. Tage, and by the way, doesn't Tage Thompson kind of just sound like the name of somebody who would fit in nicely in Utah? You know what I mean? Like, don't we all feel like we went to like junior high with someone named Tage Thompson here in Utah? You know what I mean? It weirdly fits like really well for like a Utah name. I don't know if there's anything to that, but it feels like there is. But last year, at age 26, he's locked up on what I think will be a really team-friendly deal for a while. He's signed a 7-year, $50 million contract with the Sabres this last year. So he makes about $7.1 million per year and will do so through the 2030 season. Oh, there we go, 2030 again, when he'll be turning 32. That to me seems pretty team-friendly. And you look at his stats too, and I'll just pull those up right here. He's a big dude. He's 6'6", plays a heavy game. Tage the Bull Thompson is his nickname. So he's one of those guys who can bang in the corners and plays a style of game that I think Utah was really lacking. This last year in 76 games, he had 44 goals, 28 assists for a total of 72 points. And again, he's only 26, so I think he still has a lot left to give. Around the same age as Clayton Keller, and Clayton Keller has said in his own right that he feels like he has a lot left to give. I really like considering the possibility of the Utah Hockey Club trading this pick to Buffalo to get Tage Thompson in a deal that could accelerate their trajectory in a big way. This is something also that was floated out in a podcast by the Clean Hits boys, and those fellas did a great emergency pod right after the Utah Hockey Club secured the 4th overall pick in the draft lottery. So I encourage you guys to go check out Clean Hits Hockey to listen to that pod. And you should be listening to them anyway, because they do an awesome job. Hoping to get down to Arizona at some point to hang out with the fellas. I got to have beers with Brad and Kenny when they were up for the season finale, end of April 10th, I think it was something around there. And it was so good to meet those guys in person. They're awesome dudes, and they cover the game, they cover the team so incredibly well. So make sure you guys are checking those out. But those are just kind of my thoughts, right? So again, Stanley Cup playoffs have been a ton of fun, even without the Utah Hockey Club. How about that Vegas Golden Knights win over the Edmonton Oilers? Leon Draisaitl accidentally put the puck in the net with 0.04 seconds remaining in game 3 to blow the game and give Vegas the lead there, and they would have gone to overtime otherwise. Who knows what could have happened in overtime? But that could be a huge momentum swing. It's so fun to watch these series and see how fast the pendulum can swing in each direction, and it just gets me so excited for the very near future when we'll see the Utah Hockey Club in the Stanley Cup playoff in a rockin' Delta Center. So that's the show for today, folks. Happy Mother's Day. Go check out the bonus episode with Mommy and Sammy. They did a great job. Don't forget to go to bigtuskenergy.com for all the newest merch. Follow me on social at SLC Puck on all the platforms at Big Tusk Energy. We'll have a lot more fun coming your way. Newsletter coming soon. Founding her deal on the Big Tusk Energy stuff. I think that's probably all the plugs. We'll talk soon.